While I'm checking if this works, we're getting quicker at this. Just need to see if the sound works. It's not gone live yet. Why doesn't the sound work? Yeah, okay, I'm on. Oh, hold on. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm on. Can you hear me? Oh, hold on. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it's a bit delayed. I just had to see if it works, but it works. And welcome. Forgive me. Oh gosh. Just on my nails, and it's just a bit wrong. Anyway, forgive me for how I look today. How I'm feeling, you know, as we're getting into the introduction of this. It kind of links into where the placements are anyway. So I'm feeling extremely overstimulated and anxious right now. So if you're seeing me do this, it's because it's a mudra. It's a mudra, and this helps with anxiety and it relieves stress. So you can do this if you'd like. But I'm feeling extremely overstimulated and anxious and sad. I'm actually really sad, and I've been crying a lot today. I've been crying a lot. So if I look me looking like this, that's why, because I've just been crying. Yeah, I've been crying. I've just had overstimulation, and I'm at a point where I'm trying to explain this on like my mommy TikTok of overstimulation linking to or being the feeder of trauma basically. And I'm noticing where I'm being overstimulated, and I can like pop with my children. And yeah, it's just been a lot. Like a lot has been coming up for me. And yeah, something I noticed is that I absolutely hate being misunderstood by people who I value or I would like to value. I hate being misunderstood. Yeah, it saddens me. Like, I hate it. But before getting into that, anyway, I could literally ramble on, but there's literally no point. There's no point. But anyway, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelita Sahliah. If you're new, if you're not, then welcome. And on my channel, I basically share my perspective and my lens on how I view reality, our realm that we share together collectively. So it's my lens and it's my point of view. So over here, this is astrology of the sky. We basically just look at the sky and see for ourselves where the luminaries are. I call them luminaries, light luminaries, because I see them as a frequency emitter. I see them as luminaries that illuminate our sky, and they emit a frequency. And I'll be honest, I've not even heard, apart from my crypto mentor, which he's the best, I've heard no one say or call them luminaries. So yeah, so I view them as luminaries that emit a frequency basically, and this is how it impacts us. So I'm sharing my point of view of astrology from the sky. So it's not the same as mainstream astrology. If you were mainstream astrology is saying obviously it's Sagittarius season, but Sagittarius season begins on Sunday. So this is Thursday, the 15th of December, 16th of December today, and Sag season starts on the 18th, as you can see. So it's on there. So so that's why, in essence, I'm taking astrology, but I'm like just looking at the sky. However, the sky is broad. There's not just 12 constellations. It's much more than that. Like for me, and this is where I don't understand, and this is where I also need to learn from the person who knows all of this. But like for me, the star Lyra twinkles at me all the time, and it's just like I'm getting a connection there, but that's just another zone of the sky. I don't know. I don't know that. So it's, in essence, I'm not teaching you the sky. There's literally a lady who can teach you all of that in depth, and that's where I would like to learn too. I'm just sharing my perspective and how I break, how I view astrology. You get me? I only know up to the, I know 16 constellations that I feel I can kind of go through, but beyond the 16 and the actual sky elsewhere, there's someone else to teach that. But this is basically my perspective of it. And with that being said, I wanted to say that the astrology calendar, it is on Etsy right now, people. It's on Etsy, so if anyone is interested in like a digital version, they can. Here we go. It looks like this. It looks like this. So if you're interested in a digital version, it's here already. I'm kind of working out if I can do like a, like a prepaid, what's it called? What do you call it? Prepay something. I don't know if you can on Etsy. I don't know, but if anyone wants a pre-order, that's it. Prepay, pre-order. Oh, excuse me, gas. If anyone would like to pre-order, then they can. I don't know how to get it up on Etsy, so it's kind of like you'd have to come direct to me. Just message me on all my socials. It will be linked below. But yeah, if you just wanted the digital, it's here already, and the link will be down in the bio. But that is it. You know, I feel why I'm so passionate about this is because I feel now we're coming back into the time where we are generating or bringing energy back to ourselves. Again, forgive me for this. I'm not throwing up sixes, but I'm really anxious. I see that we're in a time where we're bringing the energy back to ourselves. So in our own internal hologram, in our own auric field, it being constantly drained previously, I feel it's coming back slowly. And I feel, so this is like literally control of your own life, your hologram, your reality. And I see that this calendar, not just the calendar, but even if you don't get a calendar, just looking at the sky, finding someone who can teach you about it, but you just looking at the sky for yourself and not just trusting influencers saying this is what's happening and it's just a drawing. We need to come out of that and we need to stand in our own knowing. So for me, I see this as a break away from the matrix. It's a break away from the constant leeching of energy, and it's returning it back to source, back to you. And I see part of that is seeing for yourself the stars, you know. See for yourself the stars. But anyway, let's get into it. So can you see the board? I'm going to go into a bit as well, kind of the videos that will be released in 2023, the beginning, and they will all be released before the actual new year. Okay, because obviously the Gregorian New Year is just wrong. It's legit inaccurate, just like mainstream astrology. But all the videos of like the in-depth decodes, and you're going to have a little taster now, will be released before the end of the actual year. So it will be all released before spring. But this is just a little taster. They will be pre-recorded. So the only transit, so we'll say this now, is the sun is moving into Sag on the 18th. So on the 18th, it's going from Ophiuchus into Sag. So that's the only transit. So I've just left it there. So we'll touch on Sag season and how I break that down. So Sagittarius, I like to use gematria because from my perspective, gematria is used to measure the weight of consciousness. It's used to measure the consciousness level of, the consciousness level, basically, what's being projected in the hologram. So Sagittarius comes up in gematria as 144, which I find super interesting anyway. It's the whole 144, 144 megahertz, but it falls into that. So obviously that then equals 9. So then I'm looking now at 9 in the periodic table, because I view everything breaks down into elements ultimately. And yeah, everything's the periodic table. So it goes to 9. And 9 in the periodic table is fluorine. Am I saying it right? Yeah. It's fluorine. So that is, it's one of the lightest halogens basically, and it's the most reactive as well. So it's extremely reactive, and it's the most electronegative element. Yeah, so just take note of that. Extremely reactive. Like when it comes to obviously breaking things down to the periodic table, and in life, always take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Like literally, that is it. So and you see, I was feeling sad. You see how I let go of my hand? I was feeling sad before, but talking about this stuff just lights me up. So it's my passion, and I just need to do it, no matter how discouraging things can be at times. But and now I want to cry. But in numerology, so in numerology 9 as well, instead of writing it on the board, it basically means completion, and an accumulation of wisdom and experience. So it's like that combination of endings plus beginnings, because you've had this accumulation, you've developed the wisdom, the knowledge, so it's like, okay, now I know this is time to end, let's begin, let's get ready for the new. So that's how I see that as. And of course, kind of linking it to this being like extremely reactive, it kind of is telling me more of the nature of this energy, because Sagittarius is kind of like expansion, isn't it? So it's just like Jupiter expand, woo! And for expansion to happen, there needs to be some type of reaction, doesn't there? So I just find it interesting. Like people, I'm not saying I fully know all of this. We're literally just unfolding it and exploring together. So yeah, so it's about completion. And now, like the symbology of it now, the symbology being 9, is that even a word? I don't even know. But the symbology being a 9, I'm seeing that is, you know, it's the 6 and the 9, isn't it? It's the 6 and the 9. So you've got earth, the material, and then you've got the spiritual. So 9, it's seen as a very spiritual number, and in essence it's like from this you go up into the spiritual with 9, whereas 6, it goes down and then into the material, pregnant like a belly, birthing material potential. So yeah, so I'm seeing all of that being like higher perspective again, because in dimension talk, and this is how all of these things fit together, and this is why I feel like I am the rainbow bridge. It's just synchronizing everything together. But in like dimension talk, the 9th dimension is in essence the gods. It's the realm of the gods. So the 6th dimension is the realm of the angels, the angles, before they fall and project all of their angles within the 5th dimension, which is connection. Okay, and within connection is time. But let's get back to the 9th dimension. So it's essentially the gods. It is the higher perspective. You know, we have Mercury, it's like the messenger of God, isn't it? It has nothing to do with Mercury, but in terms of it being gods. So again, it just links more to the higher perspective, the expansion of Sagittarius. So yeah, that is it in essence for the little Sag talk. When it comes to my pre-recorded videos, we'll see how they go. We'll see how they go. Like, I want them to be to the point, basically, without me rambling on too much like these lives. And in the lives, I can just talk a bit more. And as we grow, it will be amazing to obviously have a little hangout at the end of these, maybe for 15 minutes or so, answer some questions. But we'll see. And I'm telling you, like, let me draw the moon phases and then we'll talk them through. Working and pushing through resistances and barriers. And when you think, like, a lot of the times this shit is discouraging. I'm not even gonna lie, it's discouraging, but it's also the only thing that lights me up. So we move anyway. Moon transits. So the first transit obviously is the sun, and it's moving to Sag on the 18th. We then have the moon moving through Libra on the 20th, Scorpio the 21st. Literally every day it switches. 22nd we're touching Ophiuchus, my favorite sign, and then 23rd Sag. So again, for me, the way I see this, all of this is just supporting you right now, essentially. Supporting. So the sun, the solar power, your ego in which you operate through, that is moving into Sagittarius. So you will know, like, our ego is it's what attracts opportunities and experiences to us in our life. Basically, we operate through it. So from that lens, so we're moving from the lens of transmutation, of healing, of literally our DNA restructuring to the point it can become and hold the version of you intend to be. Where our ego is gonna move from that operation, that way of operating, into operating through the Sag lens, which again, link all of this however you kind of see this fit. In essence, you'll be operating them through reaching an ending and getting ready for a beginning. You'll be operating through gaining even more wisdom, possibly sharing that wisdom and experience because it's expansion. You'll be operating in a way that will take you into your intended direction. And that linked up with Venus and Mercury still being in Sag. It's like it's amplified. So your finances, your material pleasures with Venus, it is in, there's going to be an ending. Oh, wow. I'm really emotional right now. And I could just cry. I've been crying. And when this finishes, I'm just going to turn off the camera and I'm going to cry. But anyway, oh gosh. It's like with Venus, operating through finances, something coming to an end, getting ready for a new beginning. Mercury as well, your communication style, it's operating through that Sag lens. With your communication style, with how you've handled money, with your thought process, there's an ending, a new beginning happening. There is an expansion. So as the ego's operating through it, more opportunities will just be coming to you to get you in that direction, basically. And with that being the overall energies, we do have Mercury. It's entering retrograde next week. So for my next live, I'll talk more about that. But it is beginning to slow down. Mercury doesn't like traveling far from the sun. God's messenger, say it stays close to the solar power. So because of that, that's why the retrogrades happen. So for 3 or 4 times a year, 4 times, I think. It happens so often because every so now Mercury likes to get ahead and it's like, oh no, wait, son, let me get back to you. And it comes back and it goes again and it comes back. So yeah, that it's slowing down. And obviously when it comes to Mercury retrogrades, you slow down, you just rethink, just take a bit more time. People will be rethinking things in all types of relationships. Like I'm saying, you've got Fortuna. I find it interesting because Fortune in mainstream astrology is just called Fortune with an E at the end. But in the app, it's called Fortuna. So obviously when it comes to like languages, E is masculine, A is feminine. So I find that interesting, but I resonate a bit more with it being feminine because it's like what you're going to be fortunate in nurturing. You see what I mean? You'll be prosperous in that area. So that is in Libra. So in essence, Libra, it's taking what's in your head and bringing it out into the plane of existence, into reality. So this does involve relationships. I say that because it involves everything instead of me just saying relationships and this and that. It's just everything. So you're gonna be fortunate in doing that. And bear in mind now that Sagittarius, everything's good, is pure Sag energy, endings, beginnings, wisdom, experience. You know what I mean? So it's just amplified. It's literally amplified all of this. So going through the actual moon now. Is there anything else I would like to touch on? No. It's been amplified. You may experience, in terms of who you truly intend to be, might be a bit. Did that come off? Oh my days. Who you truly intend to be, it might be a bit, you might experience challenges, and I'm experiencing these challenges now because I'm emotional. I'm emotional about what I truly would like to do. It's because Lilith is in Leo. So Lilith, the suppressed basically, and Leo being like the heart center, it's what you truly intend to do. So if there are challenges and you feel like you have to really push through that, that's why. I'm not happy about that. But you know what? I am happy. It is what it is. This is the case. You just have to accept it. And what else? Is there anything else that matters really? No, the rest are just the rest. They all matter, of course, but they've not changed. So go watch any other previous videos and develop your own understanding. I feel that's the most important thing. Your own personal hologram is the only thing that matters. And you only understand your own hologram. So you need to develop like your own knowing of your reality. And this in essence is what I've done myself. Because it's the only thing that makes sense to me. So the moon transits now on the 20th, and how the moon, the mover of our emotion, of our energy emotion, supports all of these endings, these new beginnings, this expansion in mind, expansion in the material world, expansion in you, basically, higher perspective, how the moon will impact that from my lens. So on the 20th, it's touching Libra. So in essence, the moon is also, oh gosh, the moon is waning or waxing. I can't remember the terms. I can't remember. I keep forgetting. It's fading away. That's the best way I can say. It's fading away. And so I see that as your, not intuition, more logic and reason is coming back, because the moon's influences is slowly fading away, and that being in Libra, but it is still lit. Because you can still see the moon, it's still illuminating. So in terms of where to direct the energies, it's like a third quarter moon, I think. You're going to know where to direct it, but it will be more logical and rational, you see, because it's fading away. instead of just like not really rational. You're just like, I want to do it like this and it's going to get me this far, and it's just like, that's not really reasonable, is it though, Kelita? But yeah, in essence, it's moving into Libra, and again I see that airhead, so our emotions will be touching on bringing balance into our physical plane, whatever we see in our head. So if that's relationships, that's relationships. If it's not, it's not. It's whatever it is linked to you. It will become clear on how to do this and where to direct your energy on this day, the 20th. 21st, it's the moon's heading into Scorpio. Again, this is like a death after you now know where to direct your energy in Libra. You know how you'd like to bring it out into the physical plane. There's a death that needs to happen, because before you've reached this Libra point, and not before you've reached this Libra point, in order to experience this Libra point fully, a death needs to happen. There has to be a change to create, to manifest whatever you see here, basically. So death, usually when it's Scorpio, it's more inward, hidden. You know, if you don't feel like talking to anyone on that day, that's absolutely okay, or any day for that matter. On the 22nd, it then moves into Ophiuchus, my favorite sign. It moves into Ophiuchus. So again, this is transmutating energy. It's healing. It is beginning the process to literally change. So after the death, this is where you transform to become this, basically. And then obviously on the 23rd, the moon, the mover of our emotions, drops into Sagittarius, amplifying all of the Sagittarius energy anyway. I feel on this day before Christmas comes, and this is the day the sun stands still, isn't it? Or is it the 22nd? Is it the 22nd to the 24th? I'm not sure. We'll confirm that in the next live. But in essence, the moon moves into Sag, and Sagittarius energy is just amplified, like fully amplified. Sorry, I have to support myself, give myself a like, as well as the other person who's giving me a like. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm seeing all of this Sagittarius energy just amplified, like 23rd and beyond. The sun is still, so kind of anticipate stillness leading up to Christmas. Not much really happening, and I don't want to touch on to next week, but I feel these energies will amplify the following week. So yes, with that being said, oh gosh, where's the moon today? I'd like to bring it back to today's energy and what today is saying. So I'm gonna come back in front of the camera and my feet are cold. So today's energy, obviously we're still in the Ophiuchus zone, isn't it? And people, like I said before, it's gonna be super amazing when you have your calendar because you can follow along, you know what I mean? Oh shit. You can follow along and it's gonna be even better. Like, it's just gonna be better. So make sure you get your calendar, people. But to bring it back to today's energy anyway, it's still Ophiuchus with a taste of obviously Sagittarius, because Mercury and Venus are already in Sag, but we're still operating right now through the transformative energy. So take it easy on yourself. I feel a lot of anxiety has come up for me today. A lot of suppressed emotions that I didn't even know was there has come up, and I've been bawling. I have been bawling. And I'm going to finish bawling. When I come off this, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. But yeah, in essence, we're still operating through that transformative energy. And I see how that's impacting me. Like, it's impacting me. Because we're still transforming to become the person we see in our head. Like, this is galactic season. And in essence, I see this in the darkness. It's where the seed is planted in the cosmos, and it germinates. It germinates, And then in spring, that's when, like, when Aries comes around now, that is when you're ready to be that person. I feel like you can't really just get to Aries just like, yes, I'm ready to do this new thing, but there's been no groundwork before, you know what I mean? And I just feel in terms of the natural cyclical nature of the sky, I see how it fits in. Yeah, I see how it fits in. And then of course the moon, right now we're finished on the moon where it's today. It's at the end of Leo, or it's probably, yeah, I can't check on my phone, but it's at the end of Leo and it's soon going to go into Virgo. So I know why I've been emotional, because I was just like, this is my heart, this is my passion. And yeah, like Leo's the heart center, basically ruled by the sun. So, and that's where emotions are coming up. A lot of emotions are coming up around me, basically what I truly would like to do from the heart. Like a lot of emotions are coming up, and I see that with the sky. Like, last point to finish off on, what I found in terms of looking up compared to listening to an influencer talking about mainstream astrology was that whenever they said, oh yeah, Mercury's, whatever is happening, whatever, could be anything, I had to really think and be like, oh, okay, this is meant to be like this, so let me do things like that. That's what I had to do. And there was just resistance. It just wasn't in unison. There wasn't a universe inside me. There wasn't one verse happening. It was not accurate. It was just wrong. And it's like I had to force myself. But I was experiencing cognitive dissonance, because I'm like, shit, this astrology, it makes sense in terms of what they mean, and the characteristics of the luminaries and the constellations, you know, all of that. It made sense, but I was experiencing cognitive dissonance because I had to force myself to fit into mainstream astrology, whereas naturally now I've just been paying attention to how I've naturally been feeling since summer. And in terms of my life circumstances and what has actually happened in my life, is literally in sync with the sky. It's in sync with the sky. So I'm not forcing myself to be like, oh shit, Mercury is in retrograde, or not retrograde, Mercury is in whatever constellation. I'm not forcing it, but rather when, for example, the sun, just before the sun was leaving Virgo season, the calendar idea come to my head. When it entered Libra season, the beauty, because Libra is beautiful, ruled by Venus, the design, all of the design came out in Libra season, getting it from my head, bringing it out. And then obviously that's just my calendar, but in terms of life as well, just things just happen like, oh, and I'm like, oh yes, because what's happening in the sky. So that's what I found anyway. I found like literally just going and just looking up, it's in sync with my life personally. It makes so much more sense, all of this. I see how looking up at the sky, even just my son, my children, they're in sync with that too. Literally what they do and how they act is what's happening in the sky. And bear in mind, I don't know the whole sky. These are just the constellations that the solar power touches through, that I'm going over. The sky is vast and there's so much more constellations up there, and they've got stories and influences too, because there's also the asteroids, which again I still see as luminaries or they emit a frequency, but you still got the asteroids, you know, like Juno and all of that, which I've not even touched on, because that's just deep. I've touched on it, but in terms of sharing it, I've not, because I'm just sharing, it's just me right now. But the asteroids, they do not just wander in the 12 constellations, what mainstream astrology talk about. The dance of the asteroids are all over the place, and they're chaotic. But I don't know that yet, so that's where I'm learning. No, well, I'm getting ready to learn when I can. But yeah, with that being said, that's what I've found anyway, so I do hope this helps. And yeah, last point, remember to get the calendar. It's on Etsy. The link will be in the link will be below. If you'd like the physical copy and you'd like to pre-order, just message me on Instagram or TikTok, because that's where I'm mainly at. No, Instagram, because I don't communicate with people on TikTok like that. It's just videos. I don't have conversation in my DMs. It's just easier to manage on Instagram. So please message on Instagram or Facebook, because that's a bit easier as well. And yeah, with that being said, Angel out. Bye.